guys, my name is Joe and I run Encounter Terrain. In video 1 I showed you how to use PIR foam and gave you a bit of information about PIR foam. Video 2 I showed you how to paint it and we basically got it to this stage. This is video 3. I'm going to be going over flocking. There is quite a few different ways to flock. There is no correct way of flocking. The correct way is the way that works for you. Out of the various ways to do flocking on your model, I am going to show you a few of them. Things you'll need: glue, PVA, wood glue, fake grass or modeling flock. This is from there. These, I think they're old Citadel ones or Games Workshop ones. They're just little grass tufts. They come on a plastic sheet, you can stick them on. This is a paintbrush, or was a paintbrush. Here's the other part of it. I make all of my reeds and all of my water plants out of these. I'll do a video just on them. For other flocking, I use this. I've made this myself. I'll do a whole video on how to make your own ground coverage flock out of sawdust. I've got 3 different colors. I've got light green, dark green, and a mix between the two. These I've just put in chocolate shakers because recycling, that's why. I also use these little grass tufts. People make them themselves. I don't. I just can't be bothered. Well, I get mine from eBay from a company called warpainter.net. There you are, warpainter.net. Nice little shout out to you. Various colours, shapes, and this is actually just brown paint. I've just put it in a small tub just so it's easily accessible. Optional, I have these little plant style things. These I have just been to IKEA, bought a plastic plant and just ripped some off, and now I've got endless. Now I'm going to take you through how to turn your stone piece into a nice piece of, let's say, mountain top, cliff top, something or other with grass and stones and a few plants, and just give it a bit of character. Let's get into it. Step 1. Everywhere where you want to have any form of ground coverage, I paint it brown. It's just a natural sort of colour. You can go any brown. I've just had a litre and a half of this mixed up at the shop, and here we are. Now I'm basically just going to pull it out all over the edges. If you get a little bit over the edges, it doesn't matter, because soil sometimes goes over the edges of cliffs. Now if you get a little bit on your rocks, like I have done just there, I know there's a big shadow on it. Doesn't matter. You can either repaint the rock after, or we can just cover it with some moss or grass or something. We'll cover it with something. Okay, now that this is dry, I'm going to give it the first step of my flocking, which is going to be done with this dark green homemade flock. I stick this on with white glue, and this is how it happens. Okay, so first off, I am just going to put on white glue straight onto the base in the few areas that I think I may want some of this flocking. So I'm going to put some over here, I'm going to put some there on this side of this rock here. If you're unsure how many to put or where to put it, just think odd numbers. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so let's give it one more, 7. Always work in odd numbers. Tends to just look a little bit more natural. And now I'm just going to take a little stick, or I've got this which is a little offcut of plastic, doesn't really matter what you use. I'm just going to start to spread it out where I want it. I want a bit there. And you know what, I actually want a little bit along the front here. You know what, I'm actually going to join this. I'm going to make one large section over here. Now what I've done over here on this side is I've gone up onto the rock a little bit, just where I've got a bit of paint there by accident. I'm going to go up onto the rock there because our ground coverage is going to go up on that rock. I'm not sure if you can see this in the light, but I'm also going to push it right into the cracks and crevices and nooks and whatever words you want to use to get in there. I'm going to take my chocolatey strands, aka my homemade dark flock, and before you put that down, I'm going to slide a board underneath it just so that it's easy for me to clean up. I'm going to just take this and sprinkle it on as if you were sprinkling on pepper or salt onto your dinner. Well, provided you liked immense amounts of salt and pepper. give it a little pat in, and then straight away, without waiting for anything, turn it upside down, give it a little tap, and a nice blow off. Now I'm going to stick on some of these little tufts and flower clumps and that sort of thing, just to give it a bit more flavour. Okay, so I'm going to put on this. These are cool. I'm going to stick on some of these little flowers. These are literally as simple as peel it off, and they have a sticky spot on the back. I'm going to stick it on right there, and I'm going to stick on another set of yellow flowers over here. I'm going to stick on one more in over there. Once again, working in the rule of odd numbers, so I'm going to leave this one singular one aside so that I can stick him on a miniature base or something. Can I stick it onto the flocking? Yes. Yes, you can. You can stick it wherever you want. If you want to stick it onto the flocking, what I like to do sometimes, just because it's got a sticky spot on the back, but I like to give it just a little bit extra PVA glue, not too much. Now, please bear in mind, PVA glue will dry clear. You know what, let's give it one red flower, just for the sake of it. Here. Excellent. So then I will stick these away. Okay, so now I'm going to add onto it, I'm going to add this, which is the same stuff, it's just a mix between the dark and the light. I'm not going to put the only the light one on today, just because I don't think it's going to suit this piece that well. My light and dark mix. This stuff also works really well as a bit of moss. You know, if you want to take a little bit, let's put a little bit on the front here like that. A bit on the top there. I'll just spread that out a little bit. Oh my god, you've got glue on your finger. Yep, I've got glue on my finger. There we go, sprinkle a little bit on there, a little bit on there, tap it in. There we are, so that's where we're at so far. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of these little IKEA plastic fake plant. Now these are a little bit too big, so I'm going to cut them in half. Let's chop that one there, and there, and this one I will leave long. Okay, so this is what we're going to be left with, a few of these little fellas. Okay, so the way that I put in these sort of little plant things is I'm going to use a drill bit at the moment. I've got here a, I think it's a 2mm drill bit. If you don't have a drill bit, you can use a toothpick, one prong of a fork, a kebab skewer. I'm just using this because it's what I have on hand. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to poke a hole. I'm going to poke a hole there. Let me bring that up here so you can see. I'm going to poke a hole just in over there. I'm going to turn a little bit, push that in. There we are, nice little hole there, which you probably can't see. And then I'm going to take a bit of super glue. I'm going to use 1/2 of my Mitafast 2-part mix. Now, some of you may be thinking, don't use super glue on foam because the foam will melt. As I described in my video number 1 all about using PIR foam does not melt with super glue. So I'm going to simply just push this into the hole. That's it. Yeah, simple, straightforward. There it is, one little plant. Just in there like that. I'm going to put another one. There we are. Isn't that snazzy? Really starting to take shape. I think I'm going to put on 2 more. When it comes to flocking, you can basically put on as much or as little as you want. So basically just keep going until you're happy with the level of flock that's there. You know what, I'm going to start to use the word ground coverage instead of flock, just because I'm putting on a whole bunch of different things here which aren't all technically flock. Excellent. Now, this fake grass, or static grass as they call it, I don't tend to use it that much anymore, but I will show you how to use it now, or how I use it, because the way that you're meant to use this is you can get a fancy-dancy static grass applicator. They're pretty cheap. When the grass goes on through the correct applicator, it actually looks really, really good. I don't have a static grass applicator, so I'm just going to do it the same way that I did with the other stuff. So I'm just basically going to pour on a little bit of watered down glue. Now, I'm not going to use an applicator because I don't have one, so I'm just going to take a pinch, literally a pinch, and sprinkle that on over the glue. This comes in all lengths, sizes, colours. I was going to say shapes, but not really shapes, it's all grass. They're basically just little fibrous strands. Take that, I'm going to push some of it into there. I'm going to get a little bit more. You know what, I forgot how good this stuff looks. I'm going to have to start using it more. Yeah, and I push that in, and then I'm just going to do the same thing, turn it over. Now for this one, give it a good blow, all in the same direction, just to give it a bit of just to give all the grass a little bit of movement, or fake movement. There we are, so that's that little section of grass in there. And it looks pretty nice. I think I'll do one more. You know what, let's keep consistent with our rule of odd numbers. I'm going to put a little bit here in this crack. Right there, there's going to be a bit of grass growing right there out of the rock. Why? Because it's fantasy, therefore it can happen. Look at that, super. And finally, what I'm going to add is some of these Citadel Clumps. They're very similar to the other ones that I was using. They're just a little bit smaller and a slightly different colour. So I like to use these as just little mossy, I know that they're not moss colour, but I like to use them as just little growths. So I'm going to just literally just peel them off, stick them straight on. There's one. Let's get another one, stick it on. Say here. Now these stairs, put one in there. Again, these come in all different colours and sizes and flowers and moss and all sorts of bits and pieces. The amount of stuff that they make for this hobby is unbelievably awesome. There we are. Alright, so there we go. That's how we took it from just an empty piece of foam to a nice little, you know what I'm going to call this, a jungle cliff top, even though it's, there we are. We've got our static grass, all of our ground coverage, our IKEA bits, our homemade bits and pieces, our one red flower, a few little mossy tufts. There we are. Flocking 101. One style of it. Please remember there are lots of different styles of flocking. This is just the way that I do it. If you want to do it a different way, and if a different way works for you, do that. If you've got a way that is completely different that I may not have heard of, let me know and I'll give it a try. This just seems to be the way that is currently working best for me. I've recently started a Facebook page called the Encounter Terrain Society. So if you want to come and join our society of terrain makers and builders, even if you don't make or build and just want to be part of it, come and share ideas and check out what other people are doing. I would love to see your stuff. I answer any questions or anything like that, so we're on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and all of the regular things. I'll stick all the info down in the doobly-doo. Thank you, Matt Colville, for that terminology.